zero passes.
Thank you. We'll move to new business. Members of council, any new business, committee announcements? We'll move to courtesy of the floor for public comment on any issue with a 5-minute time limit. Would anyone like to address city council? Fran? Thank you.
We're heading 2830 Linden Street. I'll catch up with a scorecard, a little behind
you.
schedule. But what my numbers are showing me with only 30 days left to really impact the figures, everything else is reported by Amy Philport. I'm predicting that the slots revenue portion of the host fee will exceed budget by $20.6 thousand. I think it'll be more than that, obviously. I think it's going to probably go another 40,000 over in that particular category. So I apologize for all my protestations last December. Things turned out a lot better. Gross terminal revenue has been doing better, partially because since they began reconfiguring the floor, their payout percentage has dropped about 1%. So if you have $75 million being wagered, that's another $750,000 a week of gross terminal revenue. So that may be one factor that's driving that up. Table games is another issue. When this budget was passed, they weren't even legal. Nobody knew what was going on. My prior scorecards, I used the figures that were used by the House Appropriations Committee when they made a financial note to Act 1. The numbers now are in for the first 2 weeks. The strange thing there is that the non-banking games, the poker games, did about double for the Sands what the House had said, and that was $660 was the rate for that from the House. 22 or 2,500, I believe, was for the banked tables. They only came in about half, so it was a strange thing. Now, the press release and everything from the Gaming Control Board expressed the fact that these 2 weeks' numbers should not be used to guide your future thinking. There's a novelty impact. That's one thing that would be on the upside. I understand there were some capacity constraints in terms of lack of dealers, which may be driving the numbers downward. But I use them just for grins. And if we assume that the same revenue is realized for the August and September operations for table games, since the administration had budgeted $275,000, we're going to miss that by about $230,000. So right now I'm showing a net shortfall of $210,000, but I think you could probably knock $40,000 off of that. So that's the report on where we're going. We're almost there for the year. I don't think the lease and amendment will be challenged this year. Looking at the Sands from another point of view, I've been waiting to do this and finally had an opportunity. We're all wondering what the future of the Sands will be. Will it be here 10 years from now by that name? Okay. Clearly, it doesn't fit their business model. The corporation is considering a change to the name of Sands Resorts International or something like that. That's where their big thing is. Two things that help see what management thinking is on this. Back when Mr. Levin, the COO, came to town to re-ground break the hotel back in June, he was talking with Matt Assad of the Morning Call, and in his article he said the facility needed to generate EBITDA, that's earnings before income tax, interest, income taxes, depreciation, and amortization, of $80 million to cover the debt. At the annual meeting, which Louise Valeriano and I attended in June, a shareholder asked Mr. Adelson, well, what about Florida? Would you want to open a place down there? And he said, first, I need some monopoly in terms of geography, and second, it's not worth the company's effort to start a facility that won't generate EBITDA between 100 and 125 million. So now we got three numbers, 80 million for the debt service, 125 in Sheldon's viewpoint that it doesn't make worthwhile for the company. End of the second quarter, the EBITDA year-to-date was 23 million, a long way away from 80 and 100 and 125. Though Matisot predicted 50, that's probably correct in the first year. Granted, they still got a hotel to build, they've got a event center perhaps, and table games have to go on, but they're reaching their 17-month maturity that Mr. Levin always talked about in terms of slot revenues. So I think the numbers are coming along, and if somebody wants to match my $100, we'll call Sheldon tomorrow and see if we can buy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Shire?
Bill Shire, 1898 Avenue. I've been out of town, so I'd like to inquire as to the status of the town hall lectures, which were looked at as beginning in this month.
Mr. Hannon and I have a meeting with Professor Pettigrew this Friday at 11:30.
Good. All right. Well,
Which is a follow-up to the meeting we had about 4 months ago.
Okay. How close are you?
Well, I think he's going to make a presentation to both of us regarding his format, the issues, how often, and we should know more after Friday's meeting.
So this could be finalized in a couple of weeks, maybe?
Possibly.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Rodriguez?
Eddie Rodriguez, 1845 Lincoln Street. I'm requesting some garbage cans, 4th and Wyandotte in that parking lot. I know it's problematic in that area, drug activity, and so on and so forth, but as a request from a resident that lives in that area, I know the issues are happening. I know there was 2 others that were removed, because everybody was dumping all their stuff there. Were cameras installed at Thomas and Buchanan, all those situations that were happening most recently with Lehigh University students? That is a question, and I'd like to find out in comparison to that. I know that I've made several requests regarding Pawnee and Dakota, and that was denied. Everywhere else, again, the cameras were installed throughout the city. But again, I've been told that there was a money situation. So, was it because it was Eddie Rodriguez's request? I don't know. Was it the way that I asked? I don't know. All I've been told is the money situations. Okay, there's a lot happening in our block. And it's still going on. And folks, it is still spreading. That's a major issue because we can see in the paper that there's a lot more incidents. We cannot deny the fact that these things are not happening or that we have to overlook them. I've been asking for quite some time to do something with trying to get residents educated to take preventive medicine. That is still an issue and it hasn't been done. I'm wondering why. Why are these incidents happening? Why we got to continually put up with all this drug activity, robberies, and thefts, and so on and so forth? Why? Is the police presence where it's supposed to be properly put where it's supposed to be? Are they coming out as often as they could or should? Are the police, with all due respect, communicating with the actual community residents? Or are we just putting it on the side until something else happens? Think about it. That's something that I care about. It's something you should care about also. Because it affects the way that we live, and it affects the way that our children are being brought up. Particularly these situations that are happening with Lehigh University students. That's a major issue. If you have an installed camera somewhere that's not working, and take it from there and put it somewhere where it could be more useful. That is my suggestion. That's ridiculous to have a camera where we know nothing is happening. I've seen this. I'm not going to waste my time with this. That is somebody's responsibility and job to take care of. And I'm not pinpointing here, and I'm not going to sit here and disrespect anybody for it. And I don't want anybody in council thinking that just because it's me asking, then I'm disrespecting anybody, because I've heard those messages also. Things aren't kept as secret as they could be, or should be. I only come here to report things from the community. Okay, things that I see happening on an everyday basis. So I come here with the hopes that these things will be taken care of on a timely basis, so that you won't have to suffer the consequences of their criminal activities, which is increasing. So don't overlook that. It's for your well-being, not mine. It's your community, our community, their community just as well. But they should be taken care, they should be taken out of that community if they're intentionally creating those criminal activities. We know that there are residents here that have been complaining about the incidents that have been occurring increasingly in the north side, west side. Well, now it's all coming true. Things I've been saying for the past 4 years. And it's going to get worse, folks. Definitely. I've already seen the outcome of all this. Mr. Mayor and Mr. Bettix, I'm asking you please step up the patrols. Get those guys out of the substations and put them in the community. Enough is enough. That's not disrespect, that's a request. Too many officers are spending most of their time in substations, supposedly writing reports. Get a better time to write reports and get them patrolling the communities more.
Thank you.